Good evening. This is Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Tonight, are judges in Gujarat coming under pressure? That's a question that we're asking at a time when a former judge of the Gujarat court, who had in fact convicted Maya Kodnani, a senior minister in the state government, has been saying that she's been receiving death threats and has asked for an upgradation of her security. She says the state government isn't listening to her. There were two judges of the Gujarat High Court who recused themselves from a key riots case just last week, saying that they had been contacted by the accused. Are judges in the state coming under pressure? That's also a question we're asking at a time when one of the key convicts in one of the riot cases, Babu Bajrangi, has been out on bail for one reason after another, this time because he has poor eyesight. My colleague Rohit Bhan has more.
After the extension of his temporary bail by around 10 days, Babu Bajrangi, his location is really not known. We are outside his house here in Naroda at the Bhagyodaya Society. We just met their family members. They said they are not aware. In fact, they're saying that he's not around. But clearly, the family members trying to keep Babu Bajrangi away from media glare. They perhaps realize, it's a very contentious case. He's been given another extension. The riot victims are crying foul. There have been instances of judges being approached. So clearly, a lot of controversy revolving around the Naroda Patia appeal case, and that's essentially why Babu Bajrangi remains elusive. He has not really come forward before the media. And today, also, when we made an attempt, his family members insisting that they don't know where he is. Clearly, in an attempt to keep him away from media glare. In Ahmedabad, with camera person Pramod Arya, Rohit Bhan for NDTV.
All right, Rohit Bhan reporting there on Babu Bajrangi specifically, but there have been a series of developments in Gujarat that need to be talked about, a series of developments over the past week or so. Joining us here in the studio, Senior Advocate Raju Ramachandran, also Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, Sanjay Hegde. Also joining us tonight, Manish Tiwari of the Congress Party, former Information and Broadcasting Minister, Pawan Verma, Rajya Sabha MP of the JDU, and Jay Narayan Vyas, spokesperson of the BJP. And we also have Professor Rakesh Sinha, RSS ideologue, here in the studio with us. Raju Ramachandran, let me take this question to you first. Let's first talk about what is going on as far as the judges recusing themselves is concerned. The judges have said that they were contacted by the accused and therefore they are recusing themselves from this case. Isn't it odd though that they haven't named who has contacted them?
Absolutely. If such a thing happens, and if it had happened in a normal case, because after all there are so many criminal appeals, there are so many murder convicts, and an attempt to approach is not so uncommon. But in a normal case, the judge would say in open court to the counsel for the accused that your client has tried to approach me, these tactics will not work, and I will do my duty according to my lights. Now, strangely, this has not been disclosed. Who are the accused who have approached the judge? And for the judges to quietly recuse themselves without naming is really odd and surprising. That high constitutional functionaries like High Court judges, with protection of tenure, with security available for the asking, that they choose to quietly withdraw from cases is something very, very disturbing.
No, why do you think then they're not naming who approached them? Because they're afraid or something else?
No, I can't understand
can't
why.
speculate.
I can't really understand. But I would think that a High Court judge, two High Court judges would name the persons who are accused and make a public issue of it. Here the judges seem to be on the defensive.
Sanjay Hegde, do you agree with that? Are you surprised that the judges have, recused them?
I remember an instance long ago when there was an IAS officer from Karnataka, Vasudevan, who was being hauled up for contempt and who had been jailed for contempt. Another IAS officer sought to meet the judge concerned, a Supreme Court judge, and he had been an old classmate of the judge. The judge named him, warned him, and told the entire bar and proceeded with the matter. Each judge has his individual way of tackling things, but nevertheless what is very important is that the judge should set a precedent that this kind of incident does not occur again, not to him, not to his brothers.
And therefore, then it's actually injustice when you walk away
That's right.
from this responsibility without naming who it is who approached you, isn't it?
It's abdication.
Abdication.
It is an abdication. It also just one thought occurs to me is that because there were so many accused, and the judges may not have been sure which of them actually sent the person, and didn't want to prejudice that particular accused if they did not know who it was who had made, on whose behalf that attempt was made. So then they just recuse themselves. That's the only circumstance in which I think a judge may be justified in not specifically naming the parties concerned.
All right, so let me ask Janara Vyas of the BJP. Mr. Vyas, you also have now a very serious accusation in a sense that the former judge Jyotsna Yagnik is making, that, you know, she's been receiving threats, she's been getting phone calls, she's been getting letters. At one point her security had been upgraded and now, you know, it has been downgraded again, and she's saying that the state government in Gujarat is just maintaining status quo as far as her security is concerned. She of course delivered that landmark judgment that convicted Babu Bajrangi and Maya Khodnani a few years ago. Mr. Vyas, how do you respond to her concerns today?
First of all, Nidhi, let me clarify that in no way I am a spokesperson of Bharatiya Janata Party. I don't wear that cap. Neither I speak on behalf of the government, nor I speak on behalf of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
But as its most visible leader from Gujarat right now, yes.
Having said this, I will answer your question. Having said this, I got into this matter once I was to participate in the debate. You know, you are aware that the threat perception is decided by a committee headed by the Additional Chief Secretary of the Home Department, where DGP and DGP Intelligence are also members. So depending upon the threat perceptions, they upgrade or downgrade the security which is being given. Now, I mean, maybe the concerned judge might not be aware, but this process went on, and I think the security again has been upgraded to Z category. I think orders must have been out today or yesterday. But it was done, decision was taken before a month. It was a process because it requires the approval right up to the Chief Minister, that it was perhaps taking time. Barring that, I think the security concerns of the judge concerned are absolutely well placed, and the government is doing whatever is required to be done. It is evident from the fact that this has been thought much before this statement was made, and it has
so
been
you're saying her security is back to Z category.
Threat perception, the committee felt.
You're saying that the orders have been approved to upgrade her security back from Y to Z, correct?
Yes. I spoke to the Home Secretary today itself.
Okay, that's an important statement that you make. Sanjay wanted to make a quick point before I come to Manish Tiwari.
The real question to be asked is, who made those threats? Because after all,
have those been investigated?
No, have they been investigated? If those threats were made on the phone, it is very easy to trace them back. Because if they were made on her mobile phone or even on her landline, you can always check the call detail records. I wish that is done as soon as possible.
Okay, I'm going to take that back to Mr. Vyas in just a moment. But Manish Tiwari, another important thing that Jyotsna Yagnik said yesterday was, when the convicts of the Naroda Patia massacre can approach High Court judges, and this is with reference to the judges who recused themselves last week, then you can imagine under what pressure a trial judge has delivered a judgment. And so she's very clearly talking about the kind of pressures the judiciary is facing at the moment, particularly in Gujarat.
Well, Nidhi, there is a definite pattern out there, and the pattern unfolds as follows: that you intimidate or try and threaten a judge who has retired. So essentially you are sending a message to the other people in the judiciary who are serving their tenure, that at some point in time this tenure will end and you will become private citizens and we would still be around. So therefore this is a clear subversion of the entire judicial process, and I do wish that this judge, is a little more forthright now that she is retired. She needs to flesh out as to who are the people, who were trying to put pressure on her, while she was hearing that matter. What are the kinds of pressures which were brought to bear, And so therefore the whole truth emerges, because now that she is not holding a judicial office, she's delivered the judgment, she's done her job. It is in the process of appeal. Having dropped these broad hints, one would only wish that she comes out and very clearly says as to who the people who were actually
except
trying
that
to
she's
put this
continuing to get
ostensible
those
pressure on
threats.
her.
I think she's continuing to get those threats, and that is where the problem lies. But I'll take this to Professor Rakesh Sinha on this whole point of whether there is now interference in the judicial process, and it's not the first time those accusations have been made. But is there a pattern here to what's happening in Gujarat?
I think this is a threat to democracy, not only judiciary, because you just see these cases are on the upswing in India. Sumesh Banerjee, the judge in Calcutta High Court, he criticized Mamata Banerjee. He received so many phone calls threatening him. So the case just see the Kerala, there was a SNC, a Levian case. The political parties were involved, CPM and Congress, and judges rescued themselves. They didn't hear that case. They refused to hear. In Sahara case, we have seen a Supreme Court judge refused to hear the case. So these are the cases which should be taken into consideration irrespective of the states, whether Gujarat or Kerala or West Bengal. And I think that the Judges Protection Act 1985 should be now extended and amended, and judges should be provided more security, because these protections are regarding their constitutional liability and responsibility. But this should be extended to their protection of their life even after they retired from the High Court or Supreme Court, because once this trend goes up, just see in United States.
You're saying what you're saying is this is an all India trend. That this is not unique to Gujarat.
I'm just giving one last. It is not only the Indian case. Everywhere in the world, judges are they are vulnerable now, because in United States in 2012 there has been 1317 cases of threat to the judges. So I think that in India these cases are on the upswing. We should take consideration of that, and irrespective of the state, we should not see that because Gujarat 2002 anywhere. Any part of the Indian state, we should extend this should be amended. This act should be amended, 1985 Act.
Let me take that to Pawan Verma. Pawan Verma, as Professor Rakesh Sinha says, this is not unique to Gujarat. This happens in all states. This is not about 2002. Do you agree that that's how we should be looking at this, or do you think it is more specific to Gujarat and the cases there?
No, Nidhi, in my view, if Professor Sinha says it's an all-India threat, of course it should be taken cognizance of. But let me say that there are some very strange things happening with the judicial process. I mean, no contempt of any kind, but some strange things are happening as far as Gujarat and the 2002 riots are concerned. Jyotsna Yagnik delivered a 1936-page judgment. And as people observed, she culled out the best evidence from a very weak prosecution. There were repeated attempts, according to her own statements, to sabotage the prosecution. She made a brave judgment. The first question arises is that if she has received 20 death threat letters and blank calls, and she believes her life is under threat, and she has made such an a judgment in such an explosive matter, why was her security downgraded from Z to Y? Every Tom, Dick and Harry, including those who are the accused in many cases, are getting Z category security. Why was it reduced to Y? Then I want to say in passing, and there are eminent lawyers on this panel, there are some very strange things happening with regard to the investigation also of the 2002 riots. In the Sohrabuddin Sheikh fake encounter case, Mr. Amit Shah is acquitted even without a trial, and the CBI doesn't go in appeal. The CBI itself is being packed, I must say this with a great deal of sorrow, by officers who were involved very deeply in what happened in Gujarat. I mean, Mr. Y.C. Modi has been appointed as the additional director of CBI. He was investigating the Hiran Pandya murder case. The Gujarat High Court made a scathing comment on the ineptitude of the prosecution. He was also the person who was investigating Gulbarg and the Naroda Patia cases. Now he has become an additional director in the CBI and may head it in the future. Similarly, Arun Kumar Sharma, Joint Director CBI, was IG Intelligence in Gujarat, and the Cobra Post tapes show clearly that he himself is giving instructions on the surveillance of the woman, not only for surveillance in Gujarat but in Karnataka. He's been made Joint Director CBI. Now this same CBI is going to investigate the Vyapam case. I am trying to say to you that the judicial process must not only be fair and transparent and honest, but must appear to be so. And there is a strange Gujarat model of judicial scrutiny, in some ways powered by the state, where judges are now afraid to hear cases for fear of their life.